Hey everybody, Melissa from Going My Own Pace and Melissa versus Fibromyalgia here. I wanted to give you a health update. It's been a while and a lot of work has been happening and it's kind of exciting, but also just, regular life. So I am doing much better in a lot of ways, like just so much better in a lot of ways. But I'm in what I think is that really tricky zone of trying to figure out how much more I can do without pushing myself too far. And so I'm in a bit of a push crash cycle. I overdo it, I have a flare, and then I try and like hold myself in line for a while, and then I just do it all over again. But the brilliance is that my resilience has increased, so the flares are not lasting quite as long. So what is it that's helping? I wish I could just be like, here is the thing, or here are 5 things, but it is complex. Like this, our body is a beautiful, complex system that is just completely connected in all of the ways. And so it is the low dose naltrexone. It is sleeping finally after 20 years. It is all my sleep hygiene that I do. And part of sleep hygiene, I believe, is managing pain and all of those things. Like it all is just so interconnected. But getting sleep, getting deep in REM sleep finally. Continuing to work on my nervous system through yoga nidra guided meditation and through my breath work and my gentle yoga practice. It is seeing the chiropractor and having them help me keep my sacroiliac joints in place and help it. Whatever they're doing is making a bigger difference than anything else has done. And that is helping my nervous system as well. And there are just so many things I think going on behind the scenes. My doctor recently said it's been a year since surgery, but it's also only been a year since surgery. So, a hysterectomy and endometriosis excision is a big thing. And so I'm sure behind the scenes, my body has a lot of work happening. Definitely my nervous system has a lot of work happening, right? Like it was used to living with so much pain in that region. And so it's relearning how we do things. And I'm starting to learn, how is the bowel working, and what they were trying to dismiss as irritable bowel syndrome, I believe, is actually just a few intolerances that I hadn't identified. So I'm working on that. So all of these things kind of are snowballing together. About 9 months ago, I started a strength training routine. I started with 5 micro squats, 5 leg lifts, some cat and cow pose, and some Superman. And now I'm doing 3 sets of 10. Still micro squats, still leg lifts, but I've added a few other things. So it's about just over 10-minute body weight exercise, and that helps me. I feel strong and I feel more resilient. And so that is really helping as well. And I'm getting more strong at standing up for myself. I will not take crap, okay? I do what I do, and I do what I need to do to be as well as possible. And I don't have to live like that. I don't deserve to live in high levels of pain and fatigue. I deserve to do what will make me well. So all of those things are just making a massive difference. So my average pain levels are kind of maybe 3 or 4 out of 10. So I dance from the mild to the moderate, depending how I'm going. But the pain is kind of altering the longer I see the chiropractor, and so it's less centralized in the in the suboccipitals, and kind of more dispersed in my shoulders and neck. So we're working through that. My sacroiliac joints are really holding much better, and I'm much stronger in the area because I'm persisting with my micro squats and building those muscles. And yeah, so the pain is down, and most of the time I'm not taking pain meds, or if I do, it's Panadol and ibuprofen, and that often stops it in its tracks. That nervous system work is just really, really important. Teaching my nervous system, showing my nervous system I don't have to be in that level of pain, is really helping. And I think a lot of work is happening in the background there in all of my systems. And the fatigue, I think the fatigue still holds me back. I still need my rest. I still have to be very careful with when I go to bed and when I get up, but because I'm sleeping, it's helping. So I'm getting a lot more done in the day. Though I can work fine at home. I do my work at home, but when I went into the office the other day, it caused a flare up. So something there is altering things, but otherwise I'm functioning so much better. I'm doing things with my kids that I just stop and go, wow, all the time. So that's pretty exciting. And I just have like sudden moments where I'm like, I am doing this thing and it is not causing as much blowback, or I'm doing this thing that I couldn't do before. And I just have these thoughts of, I'm so thankful, which is really cool. And I attribute that to my mindfulness practice, right? I can pay attention and notice. Of course I get frustrated. Of course I'm like, I still want more, right? I still want to be able to do all the things. I want to be able to go to football practice and then do this, this, and this. However, I'm going to football practice and football games. So on a Saturday morning, I've been going to football games. And if I come back and sit down quietly afterwards and use my heat pack and have a cuppa and then get on with the day, I'm generally doing well with it, which is very exciting. And I can stand through the games. So it's about an hour. The first few games, I had to take my camping chair. And then one game, it was wet. And so it would have been yucky to sit in the chair. So I didn't take it, and my back was really hurting. My pelvis was really hurting. So I was having to kind of walk up and down and kind of stretch and wriggle through it. But I made it. And then the next few games, I didn't need to. I mean, obviously, I'm always discreetly wriggling. You can probably see that in the video, right? I'm always discreetly kind of stretching my shoulders, stretching my neck, wriggling my back and whatever. But I'm just a wriggler, and that kind of helps my muscles. It helps them not get so tense. So it's winter at the moment, which has been quite difficult. So I get quite a lot of pain. But one thing historically is that I will get a lot of pain in the joints of my index fingers when it is cold, and I will be unable to use them. And I had a couple of times the last few winters where my hands would kind of lock. But that hasn't happened. So they have gotten quite cold and they have gotten a bit sore, but it's nothing like it was. So I feel like maybe that's a sign some inflammation is going down in my body. It's all a guess at this point, isn't it? The interstitial cystitis, or the bladder, is 100% under control as long as I am not having any MSG or artificial sweeteners. I don't know why. But if once someone gave me a Sprite Zero, because they know that I don't like to drink sugar. So they were doing something they thought was nice, but that ended up burning my bladder. So for some reason, my bladder doesn't like that. But I think what's happening is that my whole abdomen, like the bowel, the bladder, everything in that whole region was just sensitized because of the traumatic, painful periods and the endometriosis growing there. And so I think it's relearning as well as me figuring out those triggers. So I really encourage you, even if you have an irritable bladder or an irritable bowel, doesn't mean you can't do things to take away. Like it can be triggers as well. So I think it's worth looking into. So yeah, all of those little things are kind of have clicked into place. And so although over the last couple of years I've added a lot of diagnoses, it's made things better overall. And so at this point in time, I have my pain management plan, I have my flare plan, and I have my sleep plan, obviously. And then the rest is just kind of natural human habits. And that's what I talk about quite a lot, right? So I take my LDN, I make sure I get my sleep. My flare plan is basically, how many hours I work, when I go to bed, when I get up, when I have my rest, that kind of thing, just minding my energy. And then, the pain management plan it's so automatic for me now, which is wonderful. So I know if my pain is getting to 4 out of 10, I need to start just paying a little bit of attention. And so I'll take the paracetamol. And then if it's creeping up, I'll take the ibuprofen. And if it's creeping up, then I've got to go to bed and do a yoga nidra break. So quite often I'll do Panadol, ibuprofen, yoga nidra. And that will head off even the worst of the headaches that come. So my pain management plan is well in hand. And so with those plans sitting there, I just do them without having to think about them too much, which is wonderful. And then the rest is human habits, gentle movement, breath work and stress management, eating well, like trying to prioritize protein is something really important that I'm doing that I think is helping. Hydration, having enough water, all of those things, it's just regular human habits that maybe we have to pay more attention to. But I will say one interesting thing that's happening is that I'm having a lot more headaches, and my headaches seem to be a sign of fatigue and pain flares. So I think that's so while my neck pain is coming down, it is not stopping me as much. And so I think what's happening is then that's causing me to overdo it in both pain and fatigue. And so the headaches, unfortunately, are a sign for me that I'm overdoing it, and I'm having quite a few of them. Quite regular headaches, which is very difficult. I find headaches very difficult to manage, and I don't know, I can't tell you whether the neck pain precedes or comes after. It's probably a bit of both. But I get the headache and then I get the neck pain. And so then you're dealing with tension and pain, but it's also because of my fatigue. So sometimes I have found that lying down makes it better. And sometimes I just need to go to bed. So there have been times where I've recognized that I'm not doing the right thing. So sometimes one time I came back after football. I wasn't feeling great, and I was lying in the chair, and I had my heat pack, and I had my hot drink, and I was stretching away like, rah, rah, rah. And I was like, why am I doing this? I feel terrible. Just go and do a meditation. So my husband was around, so he could kind of supervise. So the kids were doing their thing. I just went and did a 15-minute yoga nidra meditation with my heating pad. And that was enough to get me through so that we could do the morning, do the lunch, do the rest time. And so sometimes I think it is me not recognizing signs, because it is really interesting. The more we go, the more I recognize what I was living with before. It was a lot, and I don't think I recognized how much or how bad it was for me. And there's still new things that my doctor is learning. The other day I said to my chiropractor, because she did her adjustment to my neck, and then my shoulders went boom, like just relaxed. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. And then I had remembered that in the night my arms had been going dead, like constantly. And I was like, oh, hopefully my arms won't go dead anymore. And she was like, oh, like I did not know that was a thing for you. And so, yeah, I get dead arms, I get pins and needles and tingling and all of those things, but they fall in the background of all of the other things, right? When you live with that intense fatigue and intense pain and sacroiliac joints going out of place, and you're never sleeping, like how you cannot interpret all these messages bombarding your nervous system. So it's a big learning journey. So all that to say, I still meet all of the criteria for fibromyalgia and ME/CFS all day, every day. I still have pain all day, every day, but my quality of life is so much better. And I don't have to do quite as much anymore to manage it. I'm not constantly managing it. I'm not constantly going and doing the massage with the trigger points. I'm not stretching and massaging and rubbing and taking topical lotions and this, that, and the other thing all the time. And sometimes I take a bath because I want to, not just because I need pain relief. So it's been really positive and really exciting. So I'm going to beat this drum for the rest of my life. We can make a difference in our quality of life. We might not be able to heal ourselves yet. We might not be able to cure ourselves yet. But I do believe the research is coming. I am watching those researchers who are working for us. But we can do so many things to improve our quality of life. And if we can work with our doctors and get them to help us tackle the sleep, then I just believe we can really improve things. Like my life is far and away better than what it was 2 years ago, 3, 10 years ago. I'm 38 and this is the best I ever remember being, which is sad and amazing at the same time. So that's my update. Let me know if you have any questions about kind of any part of the treatment plan. I've written all about it all over at my blog, and I've got videos all about it here. So there's nothing I'm keeping away or hiding from you. It's all there, and I go into as much detail as you like. Let me know where you are in your healing journey. Are you on an upward trajectory as well? What has helped you the most? Let's share it all. But thank you for being here for this journey.